I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. Today on the Team Chip Podcast, we have the one and only Miss Glyn Ann Townsend. But I think our dynamic is kind of rare and kind of unique. Did you feel like you faced any special challenges as a female competitor?
No.
Answer that on what?
I didn't.
And he has a big footprint and a bat print across his chest. You hit the bat so hard. So
Well,
you didn't just go win it the first time and dominate it the first time. You repeated it 3 years in a row. All right, guys, we're back again. We've already talked about scratching that surface, building a legacy. We were talking about we want to add some more thoughts to that process. And I think it's important for you guys to hear how important Glyn Ann has been in that process of us working towards building a legacy. So I have Miss Glyn Ann here with me today. How are you doing, babe?
I'm great.
Great. Back again for more. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the competition side. We in the building legacy episode have talked about, like I mentioned, losing an eye and, some things that happen to me, like, cause I get asked, what do you think contributed to that? Well, I built grit. It's learning from failures. It's counterintuitive. I think you think you have to have success to breed success, but early on, I think failures breed success if you allow them to and learn from them, right?
Yeah. We've talked about from EYE to we, and how that actually, there's been some stories that have been written in different publications that have talked about how that struggle really, now when you step back and look at it, now you see the steps that just pointed you and nudged you right to where we are today. Right.
And I think it's important in this episode that people understand how big of a part you've played in that and how important you are in that. And also kind of how rare. I mean, it's not totally unheard of for a husband and a wife to accomplish at high levels, right? But a lot of times it's a wife has a great career over here doing this and a husband's got a competitive career or vice versa, or, and they're still successful. But I think our dynamic is kind of rare and kind of unique. And I think we should talk about that a little bit today. First and foremost, so everybody understands, our foundation is God, period. And God is at the center of our home, at the center of our marriage. And we understand that when we got married almost 33 years ago, that we made a covenant agreement with God to become one person. And we respect that highly, and it's hugely important. So anyway, with that said, we have that foundation. But back in kind of our early days, running the school, growing, you came along and actually earned your black belts. And I feel compelled to say my wife is not a token black belt. I was just recently talking to a friend. He was talking about asking other martial arts school owners he knows, is your wife a martial artist or a black belt? Oh, of course she is, because I gave her a black belt. Like, seriously? What is that? Yeah, no, I'm serious.
And that's mind-boggling. You've always told me about that. And first of all, before we get too far into this, this is probably the most painful episode, because if we are going to talk about me, that's like,
we're going to talk about you.
Can we change the subject,
people,
please?
We have a great subject today. It's on.
Okay. But anyway, so you've shared that, and that's just been astounding to me, but I never wanted there to be a question.
Right.
I always, I probably put expectations that were even like a little bit like, okay, come on, you could back off a little bit, but there's no way I would. Absolutely no way I would. You got
to keep in mind, that's part of what strengthened our marriage. Because whenever you were in there training your work and you're going, I'm impressed. I'm like, I like this woman. I want more of this business, right? So I'm good with it. It's all good. Yeah.
So I've never wanted for that to be I wonder from anybody. And so, that was a driving factor for many, many years.
I'm almost ashamed to say, but it drove me to, as your instructor, not your boss, but as your instructor on the martial arts mat coming up, right. I pushed you hard. Yeah. I push our kids crazy hard, because I never want people looking at, they're just token kids, token wife, not even close. So I think it's just important for people to kind of understand that foundation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask Miss Olivia to put the link to the highlights from your 6th-degree black belt testing just a few years ago. You might want to take a look at that so you can kind of get a feel for the level of martial artist that Glyn Ann is. Okay. So anyway, with that said, I just wanted to ask you some things like competition. So like in today's world, there's all the male-female stuff and all of this junk going on. And so, did you feel like you faced any special challenges as a female competitor?
No.
Answer that on. What?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No, not at all.
I mean, what does that mean? Like, you didn't feel different competing or, have any extra challenges or anything like that?
Not at all. I mean, the women competed together. There were typically less competitors in the women's divisions,
right.
And I absolutely acknowledge that. But the competition was strong, and
absolutely
you had to perform, and it was pretty straightforward. And the mindset that I think we've talked about this before, was not leave it into the hands of the judges. Be so good that they can't
right.
deny that. Yeah, you were number one, and if you weren't, then go back to the drawing board.
Go back to the drawing board. That's right.
Roll out those VHS tapes and let's look at
VHS. Did you just date us? Oh yeah.
Let's look at rewind. What could we have done better? And really
right.
look at that. There was room for improvement.
We approached competition pretty heavily.
Yeah.
We mentioned in another episode, but the competition a lot of times for the world breaking competition would happen in July. So we would start by January at the latest, 1st of February. We were on the mat, specific training into that, getting prepared, because we did not want to leave anything to the judges. And I remember, your first year to compete at the world level in the women's competition was 2003, and you absolutely just blew them out of the water. And
well, thank you. It was things that we had done. It wasn't really, I don't think that there was anything that was just super like, hey, I want to try this something out there, revolutionary.
Right.
It was just things that we've done in demos or in
right.
that
for you, it was kind of every day.
Right.
For the people at that competition, it
right.
was revolutionary. It was out there.
And I remember as we were training going, hey, I think I would like to try to break a bat. Mm-hmm. And you were like, you can do it. I was like, are you sure? I don't know. And so we put the pad on to keep me from, just to give that confidence. And I went on that stage and had not done it without a pad,
right.
the pad on, the protective pad. And I was like, okay, I did it with a protective pad. Can I actually do this? I don't know if I can actually do this. I think I can do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And so it was that,
Well, one of my favorite memories of that was our black belt, one of our team members that held that bat after the competition, opens his uniform up and goes, Chip, look. And he has a big footprint and a bat print across his chest. You hit the bat so hard. So
well, that's because I knew
you don't want to leave anything to the judges.
I didn't want to leave anything to the judges. And I knew from breaking, in the past that it hurts worse if you don't break it. So let's get this done.
Let's get it done. Well, so what I would like to say next, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but you were the first female ever to shin break a Louisville Slugger on ESPN internationally for the ISK International Sport Karate Association. It's a big deal. You literally were revolutionary in the industry. And I don't think people realize that because you're so, I don't know. I mean, you're sweet, kind, you're humble, and you're always kind of in the background. And I need people to understand you're a powerhouse, man. Like, the things you did. There are women out there training right now in martial arts because of you. I guarantee it. They saw you on ESPN. So it kind of ruined my question, but I was going to ask you, how did it feel to be that first female to do that on ESPN? That is a big deal. That's huge.
Even now I'm you say that and it's kind of like that. Stop it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we don't like talking about ourselves, right?
Like,
there's this, there's a lot of humility. I struggle with that so much myself, but I get it. But someone's got to do it for you, and so I'm going to do it.
Well, thank you. But
so how did it feel? How did it feel to crack that bat and kick somebody in the chest and be the first woman to ever do that?
how does it, whenever it's done, it's just, you know, like it's scary. The bat that every time that bat is there, it doesn't know that I've done this several times and I can do this, but I have to actually flip the switch in my head and say, go. You know, I can't hold back.
Absolutely.
I can't. And,
that's actually one of the cool things about breaking, period, is that brick, that board, that baseball bat does not have
clue.
the idea I've broken 1,000 like it before. Right?
And I have to be focused in the moment. You know, I remember one of the questions that they asked me, whenever they had you go back and the ESPN would ask, commentators
do an interview.
would,
Yeah, absolutely.
interviews would ask questions, and it was like, you know, what is the thing that, you know, what is your kind of your focus as you're going through your routine? And I said, honestly, that if I have a break that doesn't go well, turning that off and focusing on the next one,
right,
like it's the only one, and being able to do that in the moment, second by second, go, you know, okay, that one didn't break, but I can't dwell on that failure. I have to move forward and go again.
I need you to hear this. You're a martial arts instructor and you have one rough class. Don't dwell on it. Move to the next class. Put your problems in your shoes. Take a bow. Get on the mat and be your best. It's going to be okay, right? What a powerful lesson for life, period, for anybody. Don't dwell. Get out of the past. Let's move on. Does that make sense?
And I think it was super, you know, we talked about this in a previous episode about really being grateful that all of this didn't happen whenever social media wasn't a thing.
Right.
We barely had, I don't even know if did we have cell phones? I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
You know, if we did, they sure didn't have video capability.
Our first competitions world level for breaking were in 2000, and the smartphone didn't come out till 2007.
Well, there you go. See, I didn't remember that. But I think I'm really glad that it didn't, because it would be really easy to have fallen into that. Let me show you the pictures of my bruise on my leg. Let me show you, and let that be the attention thing, and get sucked down that
kind of the poor, pitiful me.
Yeah, and it's easy to get there because that gets likes, that gets interactions, and
listen, here's the word. It gets attention.
Yeah,
it gets attention.
And I'm really glad that I wasn't able to do that, because I mean, I know my tendency. It would have been real easy to let that become, and then that becomes the focus instead of going, okay, moving, you know.
Well, let me throw this at you. So if that had happened and you kind of got sucked down the trail of, oh, look at my bruise, look at the sweat I put out today in my training session, and all these things, and that became the focus, you might not have become the first woman to ever repeat that title for 3 years. You didn't just go win it the first time and dominate it the first time. You repeated it 3 years in a row. And when they knew you were coming, they were like, oh, it's over. She's already got this deal wrapped up.
Well, right? And there was one year.
So how does that feel to know that people are scared when you come?
I don't know. You have to really check, because you can start believing the press and going, oh yeah, I'm all that in a bag of chips, and it's real funny.
Don't be talking about chip. Or did you mean chips?
Chips.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, and it's really you have to stay humble. You have to stay. Like it's the same concept of just because I've done it once doesn't mean I'm guaranteed again. And did I put in the training and the preparation and all of that? We've talked about, like the bruises. There is one bruise that I have had that I do sort of wish that I had documented, and it was whenever I dislocated my elbow.
Oh, that one was nasty.
Because that one was intense, and
let's come back to that, because we're going to come back to that elbow, because that was an awesome memory and time, although it absolutely sucked for you at that point.
It did. So it's still a thing.
So let me go back to the question: how did it feel to be the first female to repeat that world title 3 years in a row?
It's that.
Because you're evading the question.
Yeah,
you're evading the question.
Because how did it feel? I don't know that I actually thought about it. I mean, I really didn't. It wasn't like, okay, I've done it again. Yay. Everybody, look, I don't know. I just really that's not something that I've really thought about.
Yep. So I've got another one for you, and then we'll come back to the dislocated elbow, because I think that's a great story and it's kind of fun to hear. But so how does it feel? I want to lay this out, but I don't want you to. Okay, so ESPN, the main network, is the mainstream sports network, right? So it's like, football and geez, you can tell I'm not a big sports guy. What are the mainstream sports? Football, basketball, all this kind of stuff is huge on ESPN, right? Well, the martial arts competitions used to run on ESPN2 a lot, and then they would run off on some other networks and some other stuff. But the main network, the martial arts breaking, played on was ESPN2. So how did it feel for you whenever we got a call on a couple of occasions? Hey, Glyn Ann, you were on mainstream ESPN in the hits of the week. Well,
that was cool.
What's the hits of the week? Well, the hits of the week, I honestly
Center.
watch this a little Sports Center. They have these like hits of the week, and it's like football player hits and guys cracking the baseball out of the stands, and basketball players running each other over on the court, and you're like in the top 3 of the top 10 hits of the week.
Yeah.
Breaking baseball bats and bricks, so how does that feel?
That was actually pretty cool. I don't know that I think we finally found that like on YouTube somewhere and found the actual video, and it was like,
because we never watched
no, we
TV.
didn't.
Right.
Somebody let us know that they saw it. They were like, I was watching Sports Center
And
I
you were
saw
on
you.
hits of the
It's
week,
like,
and
no way.
I had to ask, what's hits of the week? What does that mean?
Yeah.
We had to do research to figure out what it was.
Yeah, it was cool.
So I'm hoping you guys are picking up on this. I'm partial to this lady, but there's zero ego. Like, I was just thinking a while ago, she's been a trendsetter. I guarantee you there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of women training martial arts because they saw her on ESPN at some point and or trained martial arts for some period because of that. That's impactful. That's huge. And people walk into our school every day, and you're the sweet lady behind the counter that comes out and gets on your hands and knees.
I got
and
called
talks
the
to those
elderly lady a while back, so that's all good. That's all good.
But and those parents have no idea, what you've done and accomplished. I know I'm making a big deal of it, but it's really important because you spend so much time kind of in the shadows, just making things happen. And
and I think another piece of that is you've said a couple of times that I've been in the shadows, but I've never felt in the shadows.
Right.
Because I know my part in this, and I know my part is important, and
Absolutely.
And there's not, so
100%.
please hear that. It's not been a
Well,
the whole
and
wind
by the
beneath
way,
my wings thing.
Yeah, if you're listening, she was not exactly excited about doing an episode that kind of focused on her, but she is such a huge part of that legacy that we are working to build. It's so important that I think that people see that we do this as a team. We do this as a husband and wife. We do this, and I alluded to this earlier, but we both have in the competitive realm gone to the highest of the highest levels in this competition in the same area, and I think that's rare and unique.
Yeah.
We eat, sleep, live together. We run our business together. We raise our kids together. We do everything together, and I think there's a lot of power in that. I don't mean for that to sound arrogant, but I'm proud of it, and I hope that that people can like that and respect that, for lack of a better word. So I do want to jump over to this other story because this was awesome. In one of your years of competition, you were doing, we called it a K kick. I don't know, where you popped down on one hand and you kicked a board or two. I don't remember. One above your head, a single board. Okay, yeah. But you would pop down on one hand, boom, break a board, and then flow right out of that into another break or two. And it was kind of like a little flow that you did that was super unique, and nobody got even close to things like that, right? And you did that break, and you crumbled and you fell when the break happened.
Yeah.
And
so the first time I hit it, it didn't break, and this is one of those.
See, I didn't remember that. It didn't break
the first time, and so in my head, that going from break to break and keeping focused and all of that. Well, I got a little annoyed, not a little, a lot, and so I torqued really hard, and whenever I did, it hyperextended my elbow and actually dislocated it, and I crumbled. And I was like, oh, that actually hurt. But the board broke.
Right.
And so then I got up and I was like, well, actually, I can't close my hand. And I was kind of thinking I'm going to throw up.
I remember because I was on stage with you, and you got to keep in mind there's ESPN cameras, there's huge lights everywhere, there's a crowd watching, the judges are watching, and you I don't remember, but I think you said to me, I hurt my elbow bad. You had like
I had two
breaks
breaks
left.
left.
Yeah. And one of them was going to require you to torque pretty hard with your upper body, and the other one was a baseball bat break. And I looked at you and I said, baby, just go hit that baseball bat and let's finish this. And you shot back there, you hit the bat. But here's, for me, was kind of the fun part of the story. And I think this part that will boggle people's minds. You won that competition. You won that year, even skipping a break and having missed one of your breaks, which was rare for you. And I don't remember if it was, I think this might have been like your second year to win it. I'm not sure. But I walked up, and at the end of the competition, you stand and the judges score you.
Right.
And the cameras are on you. And I was standing, I just walked up behind you because I knew you were hurting. And I saw you wobbling. And I walked up and I grabbed your belt from
That's
behind
the part
you.
I don't totally remember.
Yeah. And I held you up because you were trying to pass out. And I was talking in your ear, hey, keep your eyes open. Just hold it together. Just a few more seconds. Hold it together. Hold it together.
Yeah.
And no one ever knew. And as soon as they finished judging and scored you, I just wrapped my arms around you and turned and walked you off the back of the stage.
Yeah.
And I really kind of carried you off the back of the stage because you were hurting so bad. You were trying to pass out from pain. And that, some people are going to hear that and go, oh my God, Chip, I can't believe you didn't just let her lay down. And like, no, that's not what we were there for.
No.
And I knew you were going to be okay.
Yeah.
We just had to get through a couple of minutes of judging here. And I'll never forget standing there thinking, hope they can't tell I'm holding her up, because if she passes out, they might disqualify her. And so I'm holding you up because I knew how disappointed you would be too. You worked your butt off for that, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm holding you. And then we turn and walk, and I'm like, okay, babe, just hang on to me and let's get off the back of the stage so they don't know that something's wrong. Anyway, that for me was a great memory. I love that.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's like specific requirements as far as getting everything cleaned up and taken care of really fast. And I don't remember any of that. Our team just stepped in and swooshed, and
So
as
I want to
as per the usual.
per the usual for our team. Yeah, I want to pause you right there. I don't know if you guys notice, but the full intentional deflect off of me and back to the team. I think that's so important for you. That's a big part of what you do, is you keep us focused on feeding the team, keeping the team strong, relations. And you're right too. We walked off the back of the stage. I don't remember any cleanup that year either. Our team stormed that stage and cleaned that stage.
Yeah, because if you don't, that can be a thing that takes you over the time, and so then there's deductions and all of that if it's not like a fast cleanup. Because
we could probably do a whole episode on
and cleanup and
what
all
all
that.
went into the prep, the setup, the breakdown. And when you're breaking concrete, there's crumbs and trash and rocks everywhere, and you've got to clean the stage for the next competitor. And there's a timeline, and you got the ESPN director and producers pushing you, hey, hurry up, get off the stage. So everything has to be done so efficiently. And that was one of the things. I don't want to sidetrack this episode, but we used to get a lot of great feedback on your team. And the words that always stuck in my head is a well-oiled machine. They show up, they're on task, they know what they need to do, and they get it done. And then our team would end up doing it for everybody else too, right? So,
absolutely.
But that's good stuff. So I just wanted to bring you back and talk in this episode. I think it's important for everybody to hear, but I think it's important for the ladies to hear how absolutely important you are in our business, our life, and my competitive career, and your competition, and keeping us together, and just being kind of that oak tree of the family and our business and keeping things solid. But I also want people to know what you've accomplished, because I'm telling you, there are countless women that are doing martial arts because of seeing you confidently go up there and do what you do and do it so well. So I'll just, for everybody, thank you for what you've contributed, because it has been huge.
Well, thank you. And I think if nothing else, just going, if she can do it, I can do it, like on whatever it is, because that was kind of the things that I would see somebody do something and be like, I may not be able to do, X, but I can do Y, I can do it my way.
Right.
And I can I can do that.
Well,
And
so
just
let's-
opening that door of, and if the seeing me do anything, whether it was a good thing or even not perfect, which
Right.
there's way more of those, was just a door, opened the door for, I could do that.
Absolutely.
Then,
It's mindset.
Yeah.
It's not being overwhelmed or intimidated, or it's just going, you know what? I would have to work, but I could do that too if I put in the work and I dedicated myself. I remember back in those days whenever what we would do, you've alluded to this, so I'll make it a little more clear. I think when you're a fighter, you study the tape of the other fighter, right? You find tape, right? That's what they call it. You find tape, you find video, and you study that guy so you know what his habits and what his movements and how this works, right? And in breaking, I remember reaching out to Black and Blue Video Productions and going, hey, Mr. Wally, who owns and operates that, can I get copies of last year's ladies and guys breaking competitions so we can study the tapes? And I remember sitting down with you and looking at other people competing from prior years and you going, hey, I think I can do that, but I think I can add this twist to it and I can make it different, unique, or better. And I think it's important for people to hear that. We trained physically, we trained mentally, we studied, we really, really tried. And when I say we, you and I, to never leave anything to the judges, because the creative breaking was a subjective judged division, where some of the power divisions were just black and white. You either break or you don't, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's good stuff. I think it's important for people to hear how much you've contributed to and how you're a part of that legacy that we are making an effort to build and to leave. And this is a part that's so far back that most people don't even know about it. So I think this will be a fun episode for people. Anyway, ladies, man, be inspired and know how important you are in your homes, your lives, your husband's lives, and in your businesses and the things that you do, because you do matter so absolute much. And I hope that hearing Glyn Ann's bits of her story has been inspiring to you guys, and that helps you to go out there and just attack the day. Don't let it happen to you. Go happen to it. So anyway, any last words of wisdom for everybody out there?
I don't think so. I think, just, well, I do have this. If you see something that you want to try, why are you not just go for it?
Live life.
Just do it. If you've ever considered, God, I'd love to do martial arts, but I need to do X, Y, I need to lose 10 pounds first. No, that's why. Yeah. Somebody said something one time, that was a complete mind shift thing for me. And it was, well, if you ever needed self-defense, or we're in a situation where you needed to do something, the body you're in right now is the body you'd have to work with. So why are you going to try? Why are you, it's that, what are you waiting on?
Right.
Do it now.
Right.
And work with that.
Hey guys, if you're listening, I hope you're paying attention and taking notes. That's gold. It's the bodies you got, it's the body you got.
That's right.
Make the most of what
That's
you
right.
have.
You don't need to wait 10 pounds to get started, or 15 pounds or 50 pounds. Just get started.
Just get started.
Yeah.
And we did not say YOLO. We just said live life. How about that? All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like it, share it, love it, and help us get the word out. Our intent here is nothing more than just to inspire people and maybe share some nuggets to make sure life better. Thanks. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review, because we need you. We appreciate you so much, and without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success, so go out there and never be outworked.